Pats people and Foxborough friends, Patriots Nation is where it is at this holiday season. Your team is 11-2 on the bye, the talk of the town, the bells of the football. And oh, by the way, this week we happened to learn that the greatest coach in the history of the franchise and your owner, one of the most dynamic personalities in the last half century of the NFL, were both named finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So who better to talk to about all of that and so much more swirling around the wide world of Patriots Nation than the three-time Super Bowl champion, a favorite of Bill Belichick, and current Sunday Night Football analyst, the one and only D-Mac. Devin McCourty joins us on a very special 6 Rings and Football Things. Now, just in case you're watching this live or consuming a clip on the socials, D-Mac is the guy who's humble bragging by sitting in front of 3 Lombardis that he won during his day. And I'm in my fan cave, which has a Darth Vader poster and some Patriots paraphernalia behind me. D-Mac, what's up? Great to see you, big guy.
Man, appreciate it. This was all my wife's idea. She was like, you can't win and not put them up. So she was like, we'll set up your office. And then anytime you do any type of video stuff, it's right there. So it's been a nice little slight flex whenever I do stuff, especially with former players.
Slight flex. I mean, the way you know guys who probably have just won a Super Bowl and never let anyone forget it. They wear the ring, they're at card shows, whatever else, and you got 3 of them behind you right there, which is it looks very mighty. You know what I'm saying? It's a because everything that involves 3 has a fancy word: trio, triad, triumvirate. Like there's strength and of course the rule of 3, which some people say works in comedy. I wouldn't know anything about that. All right, so I wanted to get first things first. I wanted to talk to you about Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick finding out this week that they were finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So there's, in case anyone doesn't know, there are 5 finalists outside of the players that can be led into Canton this coming August. Robert Kraft is the lone special contributor, and Bill Belichick is the lone coaching candidate. And then there are the 3 former senior committee players in Elsie Greenwood of the Steelers, Roger Craig, who would have been on my fantasy team if I had a fantasy team in the 80s, legendary running back for the 49ers, and Kenny Anderson, the first quarterback to take the Bengals to the Super Bowl. Up to 3 of those people can be included in this special vote for the Hall of Fame. What did you think about hearing that Mr. Kraft and Coach Belichick were finally made finalists for the Hall of Fame, and how great do you think their chances are to be first ballot?
I think it's high. I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm an historian that knows, all 5 of those people's story, but I think when you think about these 2 guys and what they meant to the game of football and how they dominated, 25 years of football, of winning 6 Super Bowls, but just being in the limelight, being front and center year after year after year. So I think the cool thing is for both of them to be on this, at the same time. And I think, especially with everything that's going on, I think for them to both be finalists, it'll allow, everyone else, but especially them to kind of live in a moment of time of, hey, like, look, this is what we did. Like, this is how special that run was, everything. And, I think that's the cool thing about any type of nomination or anything like this, like the Hall of Fame. It's a time where people who do great things and they keep worrying about what's next. You think about Kraft, as awesome and special as that run was, only thing he's thinking about right now is how does he get the Patriots back in the Super Bowl and to win another Super Bowl. Coach Belichick, you have that great run. You could easily be sitting on a beach somewhere all year. He's thinking about, all right, 2026, how do I get North Carolina where I want it to be? So I think it'll allow both of these guys to just say, hey, let's think about how this thing first started, their first meeting, walking back, either Bill walking up to Robert's office or Robert coming down to his office and just going through all of the things and trying to put a vision together. And then they'll look and be like, we put a vision together and we far exceeded that vision. And I think that's special. So for them to possibly going in together and, probably at this time between them 2 is like a force to be doing things together. But I think it could turn out and be special. I know for people like me and all the other people who got to just be involved in certain moments in time, you love both of them. Like, you feel like the reason we were able to do so much is because of both of these two individuals. So to be able to be in Canton and celebrate with them, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I know you were there for it, and we all thought Tom Brady night at the stadium back in June of 2024 was very cathartic for a lot of fans, a lot of players. You know, it was so great to see people like yourself, players, legends unto yourself, who were part of the second half of the double dynastic run. And each 10-year period is remarkable enough that anyone involved should be considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That the Patriots were able to win 3, go a decade wandering the desert of no Super Bowls without it, and then you guys win 3 more is just that to me is the part. And that there was the symmetry the entire time of Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick, those being the most connective of threads and tissues, makes it beyond remarkable. And so June 2024 was so great. Tom's back. The statue comes later. The fact that it looks like an Olympic protest more than Tom Brady doing LFG is a little weird. That's for another podcast, Dev. But like, that was a great night. And, Brady was back and Bill got the ovation he deserved. And it was so great to see all of you guys from the early years and the later years showcasing what the Foxborough family was all about. I think in a lot of ways you hit on something there. I think if Bill and Robert go in, this is an ancillary benefit of them possibly going in together on first ballot. I think that would kind of be a moment that could maybe bring the family back together again. Like, who cares how and why people were dismissed or how things ended or who should have done what? The fact is they were part of something so remarkable in New England, in the NFL, in American sports, pop culture, everything. Like, everybody knows who these guys are, and they should put animosities aside and celebrate just how special what they did was.
We just need to bring the alcohol, and just as soon as we get together, just be like, shots. Everybody take 3 shots and then we go. But no, I agree.
That's
with you
Ty's job. Ty will be there.
Yeah,
There'll be a Corvus vodka truck backing up the second. That thing's already he's already planning the same way Robert is looking at the end zone like, Jonathan, how much is it going to cost to demolition the 6 banners and make room for a 7th one? Ty is already thinking like, all right, how many bottles of Corvus do I need to drive to Canton next August?
He's gonna be the official sponsor of the Bill Belichick Robert Kraft after party. I love it, man. But again, like you said, I think even Tom's thing, like there wasn't a moment or time where Bill just got to hang out with everybody. He kind of came in, hit the stage, and then he had to go and do whatever else he had to do. So I just think that time would be exactly what you said, whether it's the night before, like all the festivities that go around that. I can envision it right now of, the Hall of Fame game and both of those guys being on the field and being interviewed, and possibly maybe Tom coming back and being a part of that. And those 3 having a moment to just themselves, because as special as the overall run was, that included a lot of different players, myself included. The special part of this is what you said, those 3 men deciding that for 20 years they would make it work. I tell people all the time, like, everyone focuses on the end of it and, whatever between Bill and Tom needing to go to 10. I was like, but think about how hard it is for 3 people to decide for 20 plus years that this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this work. Because what you said, at the end of that first 10-year run, you win 3 Super Bowls. It's easy to say, hey, you go that way, I'll go this way. We'll figure it out, and we'll still have great careers. But for those guys that say, we're going to keep plugging away, we're going to keep trying to make this work, we're going to have a perfect season and lose, and then we're going to have a time in 2009 get eliminated in a wild card. And I used to hear Bill talk about kind of hit reset and say, we need to change this. We need to get a lot of different guys in here, and then to go do that. And I got to be a part of that change. And think about all those guys that came in, and for Tom to not say, you know what, this team's going young. It's past my time here. I need to go find a team that has veteran guys, a team that's here to win now. But for him to say, no, like, I'll take on this task. I'll take on a young Rob Gronkowski, a Julian Edelman. I'll go out there and play with, Hightower, McCourty, and all these other guys that are young players, and I'll believe in it and make it work. Like, I think that is so special that they need to have that. They need to have not just one, but a bunch of different moments to celebrate that. And hopefully it's together. It's everyone together doing that, talking about it, because that's what we don't hear. We hear so many different individuals that were a part of that, both dynasties, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the early 2000s, the 2010s. We hear guys telling stories, but we never really get to hear like Bill, RKK, and Tom sitting on a panel together talking about, you know, any amount of stories that went into that. I think that would be really cool, the lead up and everything that would go into this. And, you know, it feels like it's definitely going to happen. I just feel like this moment is made for it. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we don't want it to be an Apple Plus docu-series. We don't need
Yeah.
a special. I don't need any social media or a podcast about it. I just want to see the three people that were the most responsible, the three architects of that incredible run. You know, I know Brady won't be enshrined then. That'll come later on.
We'll get
He's
to do it
busy.
again once he
Yeah,
goes in,
we'll
right?
do it again. We'll do it again, and I'll just break out into tears spontaneously, remembering how great it was the whole time. And in the interim, Tom will call football games, clone dogs, and sell us air fryers. Which, hey, he's Brady. Come on, I know he's the legend. We have fun together.
He's in everything.
It literally, if I turn my television on and Tom Brady's not on, I like hit the remote. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with
He's the NFL Shaq.
He is in a lot of ways. He is the NFL Shaq, and you know, probably moves as quickly as Shaq does these days as well. So you mentioned though the thing about I've been thinking about this. Just a quick contemporary thought. Right now, you know, I know you guys have on Sunday Night Football. You guys have Texans Chiefs, and you got a profile piece that I'm looking forward to watching Sunday night as well on one of the Texans defenders. But it feels like the Chiefs are at that 2009 pre-DMAC year. Like they've done everything they can. They've exhausted the tank from the initial run, and they almost need to like take a note if Mahomes and Reed have it in them to go find DMAC and Edelman and Hernandez and Gronkowski and basically and you know, Seabass and everyone else, and basically reboot the franchise. Like that in between that you just hit on is a special part of what Robert and Bill did and were able to be patient through. That again, in addition to everything else that makes them Hall of Fame worthy, is another one of those boxes that people forget that they checked off during that time. And I wonder if the Chiefs can do it now too.
Yeah, that was my thing, you know, call it a year ago or 2 years ago when talking about the Chiefs. It was, how can they maneuver when Mahomes can still play at a high level, but the rest of those guys can't? It's the unique nature of playing the quarterback position that you will outplay some of those guys that were the guys like Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, like all the different people that were a part of that fantastic dynasty that you got to put together. They don't all get to play at that same level year after year. And that's the test. How do you change that? How do you create the same type of thing? We thought like Xavier Worthy would be Tyreek Hill. He's not that, but he's still a piece. Rashee Rice is a piece of that. Like now you have those guys, and they've done a little bit of that. When you look at Josh Simmons, the left tackle that they went and brought in, that's a guy that's a piece now. You still have Creed Humphrey in there. So now I think their next wave is going to be, how do we find the next defenders that come in and they change all of this around on defense and they make us, you know, a dominant defense with the offense, because nothing will speak higher volumes if they don't make the playoffs, or if they go and they get a first round exit out of the playoffs of, this just isn't good enough. We have to make massive changes. But the hardest thing is, and I didn't have to live through that, is when you're not getting the result you're used to getting year after year. So for the Chiefs, it's been all Super Bowls. Like it's being in the Super Bowl, it's being in the AFC Championship game. If you don't reach that, how easy, or I should say, how willing are all parties to come back and sit at the table and say, let's try this, let's do that, let's do. Andy Reid's an older guy. He talked about, you know, not coaching forever. So they have so many different variables in there. And again, not to say that this season's over for them. You know, it's not. They have Patrick Mahomes. That's why a lot of us in media are sitting here saying, well, they're not out of it yet. They're 6-6, and we keep saying they're not out of it. And the main reason is because of number 15. If there was any other quarterback there, we probably would be saying this team's done. But it makes our job a lot easier and more fun, because this game Sunday night is going to be, you know, possibly the game that we look back to and say, hey, that's when the season was over. That's when we kind of knew they were done in the playoffs. Or we say beating the Houston Texans is what kind of got them going to get in. And then we might not even be talking about if they can do it because they might be right back in the dance. So I will say this, doing media and playing for the Patriots for so long, everyone I see was like, oh, I know you hate the Chiefs. I know you hate what they're doing. And I'm like, no, it's actually pretty cool to be someone that was a part of something so special and great. And now to watch another team chase that and be close at it and do different things. I was like, I enjoyed it. And I was like, it kind of keeps me employed, getting to compare and talk about all the things. So it's been fun to watch them do that, and we'll see how it all ends.
Yeah, what you guys accomplished in those two different periods, let alone in the overarch of the 20 years, is special unto itself. And people always feel the need to compare it or like say, oh, yeah, you must hate them or you don't want them. Let them do their thing. That's fine. What you guys did was so special unto itself. Just let it be. Run your race. Don't worry about. But that's everyone always needing to anoint the next something special or what else. And it's good to have people like yourself in the media to actually say like, no, there's no animosity here. It's more like don't hate, celebrate, for God's sakes.
Exactly.
Just last question on Kraft and Belichick before I slip in one about the 2025 Pats. Can you think of any reason why, now that they've come this far after Robert Kraft has campaigned and done everything he can to hopefully get the attention of the Hall of Fame to recognize all of his contributions in Foxborough and to the league at large, and Belichick's worth and his incredible resume and LinkedIn page and history, 8 Super Bowls that he's got, 2 as a coordinator, 6 as a coach. Can you think of any reason why either of them wouldn't make it on the first ballot? Because they need 40 out of 50 votes from the 50 Hall of Fame voters.
I mean, I can't see it. I mean, I always think back to what everyone talks about. Like if you're a fan of another team, it's all of the Deflategate stuff. It's all of the Spygate stuff. That's what everyone will always kind of try to, attach themselves to of why this shouldn't be. But for me, it's an easy decision. Like what these guys were able to accomplish year after year after year after year, it's special in its own right. So to me, I would definitely I don't know if you can find, 50 people to put in a room and say, hey, this is the resume, this is the upper room. Who makes it? Like if you take, 50 random people who don't know anything about football and you say, hey, look, this is how football is measured. This is what's important. This is what a championship is. And you put those two guys' resume right in front of them, 40 people definitely are going to say, yeah, like those guys are in there. So I'm looking forward to the excitement. I believe in speaking it to existence. So I believe it. We'll see both these guys in Canton. And, for me, I visited there before, but now doing the NBC stuff and getting to be, at that game, the Hall of Fame game, and walk around the Hall of Fame and see the bust and be on the field when, you're around those guys. Like my first time ever doing it, Darrelle Revis goes in, and having the opportunity to play with Reeve in New England and sitting there talking to him and interviewing him for a night like that is just so special. So, I'm definitely looking forward to watching those guys and see them go into the Hall of Fame because they deserve it.
Yeah, with all due respect to the other 3 players, because once again, 3 out of 5 can go. They're great players, Hall of Fame worthy players, but Belichick and Kraft are they're integral to the history of the league. They are undeniable. They're literally legends and pillars of the first quarter of the century of the NFL as well. So I'm with you, and I can't imagine that there'd be enough people that would say, oh, Spygate this, Deflategate that would say like that's worthy of let the resumes speak. And if anything else, now that you're in the media and you can look back to, people like myself or other people that are in more legitimate media, like also thanks for the content, guys. It's been are you kidding me? All the different t-shirts people sold and the car conversations and everything. Like, if anything, Kraft and Belichick should just take to the podium together, hopefully when they go in first ballot, and be like, oh, and by the way, all the scandalous talking points, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We gave all those talk shows an hour worth of back and forth on one topic.
Yeah. Stephen A., you guys didn't have squat without us. So yeah, we should be in here alone just for that. Obviously, what's going on right now in New England is remarkable. Vrabel has him at 11-2. Drake May is almost first in everything. And the second-year quarterback, who's barely started, I think, 24 games in the NFL, DMAC, is now the front runner for MVP in the league. Just tell me, how surprised are you that the Patriots are this far ahead of schedule and doing this well? And what do you think they need to do when they come off the bye to stay focused, stay on track, and maybe lock in that seed, number one, get that bye, and maybe even make a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I am a little surprised that it's the number one seed. I had said before the season, I thought they were good enough to be a playoff team. I thought possibly getting it in the wild card. I thought they would finish second in the division behind the Buffalo Bills. So I'm not surprised that they're a good football team. I am definitely surprised that they are the number one seed. And then on top of that, they're 11-2. And think about this, like they're 11-2, and we're going to say there are 2 losses to Pittsburgh and the Raiders, 5 turnovers against Pittsburgh, and then they lost to the Raiders. Like, you watch the Raiders, you're like, wait, the Patriots lost to the Raiders, and then you remember it was week 1, and week 1's a lie, blah, blah, blah. But like the way that they've gotten better is ridiculous to me. The focus, the preparation, like how into the details they are, like week after week, that has impressed me. Like that is so cool to see because it's what every team strives for. Like that is the goal for each team. Like, hey, we're struggling in this. Okay, we go do that. All right, we're struggling with this. All right, let's fix that. And then I remember Belichick used to always say, let's make our weaknesses okay. Let's make our weaknesses good, but let's make our strengths great. Don't let our strengths slip because we're only focusing on our weak. Like whatever you do well, you got to go in every game. We got to be able to count on that. And I think for this team, that's how they're moving. All right, man. Defensively, they don't really start the game that well. Let up long drives, but after that, they get in this grind and they get in this groove, and they're pressuring you. And they're becoming great at that. They're becoming great on special teams, taking advantage of those different things. Offensively, it's all about spreading the ball around. They're becoming great at that week in, week out. We're like, yep, we can count on that. We see it. So for me, how do they finish this? Continue to do what they're doing. Like I watched the Cincinnati game and I was nervous for the team going into Monday night. I was like, the Cincinnati game, a little bit of a drop off, not at the same level it felt like, and injuries. Now, all of a sudden, this is the first time as you walk out of a game, man, Will Campbell's out, Jarrett Wilson's out. Dang, like how we overcome that? Oh, man, we had lost Milton Williams. Now Kyrus Tonga. Man, those are 2 big guys in our interior that's been a big part of how we played. And then you come out Monday night and listen, the Giants are not a good football team. Not a good football team when it comes to being consistent. But they're a team that when they get it rolling, you turn on the Detroit Lions film, they're rolling. They're doing different things. Then they get their quarterback back, Jackson Dart. So I thought there would be an energy, and there was. I was talking to some of the Giants players and staff, on the field Monday night, and like one guy was like, "I'm ready to go. Like I feel like we're gonna beat the hell out of them today." Like there was no, like they were ready to go.
And they were not like, "Oh no, we're playing the Patriots. Exactly. We have to bow down to their greatness." Yeah,
exactly. And I think the history of it, right? Every time those 2 teams play, all of the history comes back. It's all over TV the whole week. So I thought that mentality and how they came out, and that to me was a coach who's a former player who's in there telling these guys, hey, it's a Monday night game. We got the bye week. Let's let it all rip. Let it all out. Don't hold anything back in your preparation and how you play, how you take care of your body. Let's go all out, and then we're going to get a break. And I think Vrabel's going to talk about this the whole time. We get this break, and then I remember Coach Belichick used to say it to us, put everything in the draw. When we come back after this bye week, any problems, anything that are not immediate things you need to fix with your family, put it away. Business, media, like whatever it is, tell everybody, hey, I got 4 weeks left in the season, and then I want to go, and then my plan is to go win 3 games, and then I'll do anything you need. And I just think about for this team, how special that moment is that we're now talking about that kind of conversation that I know Vrabel's been in. I've been in. So many of the former players have been in. They're now in that. And I think what's unique about this team is as young as they are in some key positions throughout that roster, there's a Hunter Henry, There's a Stephon Diggs. There's a Morgan Moses. There's a Robert Spillane. There's different guys. There's a Milton Williams that's young, but from last year, he just made that run. There's different guys that are in roles, Carlton Davis, that they've been a part of some of those runs that they know, hey, young fella, trust me. If we do this the right way, whatever deal you're about to sign, you'll make easily over $100,000 coming off of a Super Bowl win. Like that's easy. And I think they have that kind of presence to blend in with those younger guys of how to get it done. So it should be fun. I think the hard thing for them now is going forward, they're in the driver's seat. Every game is the biggest game of the year for the team they're playing. For when you play Buffalo and Baltimore speaks for itself. That they're going to get up. That when you play the New York Jets again, when you play the Miami Dolphins again, their seasons could be over. Jet season will be over, basically. Miami's,
the Jet season is over before September, but that's fine.
Those two teams, how they go into their offseason will strictly be about if they could beat the Patriots at the end of the year. Like that will be the key.
And you remember what that was like too. Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%, but it's great to hear a former player's perspective who was challenged on the regular with a lot of wins, taking a bye week, and how you put it all in the drawer. And I'm sure those are Vrabel's his own coach, but he'll borrow from the greats if he needs to as he puts together his portfolio and continues his excellent ascension towards being one of the best coaches. I think coach of the year this year, if I had to vote in the NFL.
I hope not. Them coach of the years have been bad luck for these coaches, man.
All right, I'm sorry. Sean McVay, you are the coach of the year. Oh, Vrabel, I'm so sorry. You're like probably like the best runner-up in the history. I mean, you really deserved it, coach, but can we offer you this bright, shiny Lombardi instead?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the man did once say on a podcast he would, do something to himself to win a Lombardi as a coach. We don't need to get into any of those details, but yeah, man, like, you know what it's like to have every game that someone is playing be their Super Bowl. And so the Patriots are now going to have to get back on schedule, and they have to be prepared for Buffalo to want to get payback, for Baltimore to try to win the North, and for the Jets and the Dolphins to say, hey, maybe our program isn't so bad because we played spoiler and kept the Patriots out of the top seed. So, and we'll see where it goes. Folks, he's not one of the best young broadcasters and analysts in the business for nothing. And, of course, you love the fact that he flexes in every social broadcast he does with not one, not two, but 3 Lombardis behind him right there. Give him a follow also on the socials to get his analysis and watch him bust his brother's chops on occasion at Devin McCourty. D-Mac, it's always a pleasure. You were the first guy I thought of wanting to get the perspective on both coach and owner, maybe going to the Hall of Fame and hearing about these Patriots. So keep up the awesome work. Look forward to you doing your thing on Sunday night before a huge game with the Texans and the Chiefs. And thanks for always representing for the nation.
Definitely, man. Can't wait to see you add another poster in the background. Maybe the 2025 team could get a poster on that famous wall right there, man.
Are you kidding me? I do the Drake May interviews every Monday on WEEI. That's the closest thing I have to a flex. And I asked my 12-year-old son, Thomas, wonder who I named him after. Well, it was better. Brady was too obvious, but Thomas was subtle enough. I actually asked Drake May a question during one of our interviews and said, my 12-year-old son, Thomas, is a huge fan of you. And I asked the question, and Drake was like, oh, man, tell him he's the man. So now I have an audio clip of Drake May telling Thomas that he's the man, that he gets to play on his iPhone to his friends on the school bus. That. Like, my dad got Drake May to say that I'm the man. Like, it's the vibes.
Now you're a cool dad, man. That's all that matters. Once you get to a certain age, you turn into Thomas's dad. Nobody knows your real name.
Listen, you and I both understand. Like, we got too many kids, and there's not enough hours in the day. We get it. Our resting state is perpetual exhaustion. But you know what? Wouldn't have it any other way. That's D-Mac, everybody. Thanks for listening to the latest 6 Rings in Football. Things brought to you by WEEI, Odyssey, and 2400 Sports. Enjoy the bye week. Get your rest. Have the happiest and safest holidays. And we will talk to you next week to get you pumped and primed for the Bills at the Pats. Take